Hello, hello, hello there, guys. Hope you are very, very good. Welcome. Lots of lovely faces who I haven't seen for a little while. Hope you are very, very well. Hello there. Hello there, Alison. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah,
You all good?
yeah.
Lovely. Lovely to see you. Nice to see you. Oh, Michelle. Nice to see you. Hello. Hello, Trev. Hello, Sonia, Janine, Beth, Joanna. Dan, lovely to see you. Sue, lovely to see you as always. How are you? Dan, how are you, mate? 1 second, mate. Click that button. I'll be able to hear you, mate. Click that button there, mate. I can't see you on screen at the minute.
Oh, mate.
There you go. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I say we keep missing each other. I'm always on holiday recently,
I was,
so
I was going to say, you've missed the last couple of PPP sessions,
yeah.
haven't you?
Well, I was away for 3 weeks, and I was on a course at Manchester Uni for a week, so I couldn't get out of that. And then I'm away again on Thursday, so
Absolutely jet setting. I love it.
busy, 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 Matt.
Good on you, mate. Good on you. Nice to see you again. Sue, hope you're wonderful. Hope you're great. Kiara, hello. How are you? Nice to see you at home and not normally in the car when you're on these PPP sessions. Joanna, lovely to see you. You look like you've dyed your hair since I've last seen you. Um, uh, Sonia, good evening to you. Janine, good evening as well. So guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Just got a few more here who I'm just gonna bring in. Um, as I said to you, I've said this before. Click view in the top right hand corner, click speaker, click full screen. So it's just you and I for this focus. For those of you who've been with me on the PPP a while now, you can choose your dynamic. Dana, lovely to see you. Um, Janine, hello. When it comes to today's session, I was talking with the guys who have been on the PPP with me a while, and I wanted to create a session based on, and for those of us who are unaware, every fortnight, we come together, we do a very in-depth, good evening, Rox. We do a very in-depth session together. We deep dive into a deeper area of emotions, mindset, life somewhere. Like last week was all around mental strength and emotional resilience. And we really dive into it to a point where I want to make sure that we're all at a certain place and everyone's on board and everyone's completely clear on where we are. So for these last 2 weeks, I have opened up our group and I created a group of live call questions that people were wanting to ask that were some parts that, just some lingering thoughts. And in doing that, I thought, you know what? This isn't the first time I've heard these questions. It won't be the last time I've heard these questions. I know a group of people who I've also worked with, or I'm sure who linger for them as well. And so we're all human beings. We all have these thoughts that linger, or these different questions that may come up from time to time. So today, based on what the members of the Peak Performance Program have asked me over these last 2 weeks or so, I've taken a select of those questions and brought them together on where today's content is going to come from. And I know for absolute sure, whether you've worked with me a year ago, whether you worked with me 6 months ago, whether you worked with me a month ago, whether you've been working with me and you only saw me 5 days ago, these are going to answer a lot of questions for you. One, because some of you on this call have already directly asked them to me, but two, because I know it's going to be very beneficial for where you're at. Of course, if there's questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box as we go along here. Obviously, I'm going to be speaking with members of the Peak Performance Program during this session on screen and asking a few little things and even demonstrations. But by all means, we'll take it from there. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few set questions with you. Good evening, Supreet. Good evening, Becca. Becca, I take it you're with the kids as normal on a Monday, so you are going to be screen off. I would imagine that's going to be the case. Cool. So I'm going to rock and roll with this. So as I bring this up here, bear with me. Tech never has been and never will be my strongest suit. I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to share and present this with you at some point when I know how. So, some questions that I'm going to start with here. If you like to take notes, do so. I think it'll be very beneficial for you, especially if we don't see each other on a weekly basis or so. I recommend that you definitely take notes here. The first question I had through was in our public chat from Harriet. She said, I've always been one for self-doubt and lack of confidence. I was brought up by my mother to believe I'll never be good enough, never been good enough for things, and to always see the bad. Some days I'll do amazing, and other days that self-doubt creeps in and what if attitude creeps in. How do I go about tackling the self-doubt that still seems to appear even when I feel like I'm doing great? Now, just so we can all get off on the same page, can anyone here resonate with that? Cool. I have a few show of hands. Brilliant. Cool. So you see, for those of us who have just joined, remember view in the top right hand corner, click speaker, click full screen. Here's the thing, and I'm going to give you, and like when I work with the guys on the PPP, I always do this in a deeper way. And what I mean by a deeper way is I'll always give you the understandings more so than if you've worked with me one-to-one or on the Life Empowerment Program, because you're at a deeper place. And so if you're with me now, you're at a deeper place than that. So here's the thing. When anyone I work with, and this is the way that you can become your own self-practical psychologist here. When I work with anyone, I listen to the situation or the circumstance or the issue that gets raised. And the first thing I listen for is what is the belief that's there? What is the belief? Because the belief will govern everything here. This is important for yourself and wherever it is that you face. So, looking at this, there's two beliefs that get presented. Two. Which one do you think is the core belief here? And I'm going to ask a member of the PPP here who I think. Let me have a look. I know some of you are going to watch this on replay. Alison, hello. If you click unmute, I'll be able to hear you. It's on your screen. Click. There it is.
Hello.
Hello there. The rest of the PPP guys, I'm coming for you. So as you look at this,
Yeah.
there are two core beliefs that that has been shared by Harriet, and I'm very thankful that she's shared this publicly. Which one do you think is the core belief?
Feeling that she's not good enough.
Okay. So,
Or always seeing the bad.
so this bit in brackets.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Cool. Hands up if anyone disagrees. Fantastic. I agree. That's what I thought was the core belief as well. And so this is why this is so, so important for you guys who are here, who are watching this, who are zoning in. Because you see, if you understand the belief, you can understand its purpose. Meaning, identify the belief first and foremost, then we can go about targeting the purpose of it. The only, and hear me on this, the only reason that someone would project this belief, and this isn't, this will help Harriet more than anything. I know she's going to be watching this back. The only reason someone would project this belief is because if in some way you are benefiting from it. Benefiting from it. And I give an example here. I don't know this exact situation for Harriet, so I'm not going to speak on her behalf. But the benefit might be my mum always told me I wasn't good enough. Therefore, I then never put myself out there or take risk or take action. And then this stops me from ever failing or messing up because I never actually take the required action. So I play small, I play timid, I keep myself in my little corner over here as an example. I never put my head on the chopping block, so therefore I can never fail. So it benefits me to use this belief. Can we see that? Because to put myself out there, to do that, that's to take a little bit of courage. There's the potential of judgment. There's the potential of someone saying you're not good enough. So I can use this belief. So when I work with you guys, when I've worked with anyone, I'm always looking for that belief and what's the target. And for those of you who've been on the PPP with me a while, you'll remember we did a session, and I can refresh it at a different stage where I said, The thought creates the feeling, which creates the emotion, which serves the purpose that meets the need. Some of you are nodding your head. Good. So that part there is where this comes from. And so here's the thing, because no matter what belief it is that you present, I'm I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I'm too weak. I'm too strong. I'm a man. I'm a woman. Whatever your belief is about a certain situation, the only reason you would use that belief is if it serves a purpose and you benefit from it. On the surface, you're like, Matt, I do not benefit from, you know, thinking that I am not worthy of love. Really? Because when was your last relationship? 10, 15, and this is based off a real client conversation, 10, 15 years ago. Right. And why haven't you got into a relationship? Because I told you I'm not worthy of love. Right. No, that's not the reason why. Why is the real reason for essence of speed here? Because if I get in that relationship and the same thing happened that last time and that person left me, then therefore I'm not sure how I'd be able to deal with that again. So guess what? Me telling myself I'm not worthy of love at the start protects me from actually finding out that situation. Who here can see that? Bingo. And so any belief serves us because there's some beliefs that you would have adopted from childhood that you go, get out of here. I'm not having that. That's not me. I saw my mum do this. I saw my dad do that. I saw my older sibling do this. I'm not, no, I'm never going to do that. How many people here have kids and you go, because I never had this, I'm always going to make sure my kids have this.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. So look, these circumstances don't define you, only the meaning that you've given do. Okay. But to take this a little bit further with you, thank you, Alison. Qualified as just an own practical psychologist already. So you see, to define this and to make this really quite clear for you. And today's session, because of the obviously some of you I may or may not see again for a while, I want to really give you actionable things that you can take. So today's session is going to be really implemented in that way. Okay. So if I take this a little bit further with you, there was, to give you some of you quite like the data and the science of these things, there was back in the 1920s-ish, a very well-known psychiatrist at the time, psychotherapist called Alfred Adler. Alfred Adler. Now, some of you have heard of Adler. Some of you have heard of Freud. Anyone heard of Freud? And you've heard me talk about Carl Jung before when I've done archetypes with some of you. You remember archetype? So Adler's created this model. I'm going to breeze past this, but I'm just telling you this because I'd always give credit to when it's not my own personal work. Adler created this model of inferiority versus superiority. And what I'm going to share with you today is a little bit of Adler's model of the inferiority. Because when you can understand this, you can make a shift in your life, like what this question will allow you to do. So any circumstances don't define you, and you dictate the meaning of them to enhance and grow and make your life more purposeful. Because, like what it said there in that particular question, the only reason self doubt and confidence lingers, self doubt and lack of confidence lingers, is because I'm lingering on the fact that this belief is serving a purpose still in my life. That's why I've started with this. Because if I target that belief now, Harriet may be watching this, some of you may be watching this and going, okay, cool. So the next time I tell myself that, I know I'm only doing that because it's serving the purpose. I don't want to use that. But better still, now we need to understand what we can do. Got it? Beautiful. So let me share this with you. Let me share my screen with you here again. Lots of sharing today. Sharing's caring. So you see, this is what part of the model was. And what part of this model was, and I'm going to share with you the inferiority side of it. And what Adler shared from his work was that there's two kinds of inferiority that we feel in our life. Now, Before you go into modern day psychology and you start saying, oh, when I say modern day psychology, the common language these days is, oh, they've got a complex about themselves. That isn't the way that this is positioned. Remember, this was like 1920s ish timings, and that's not the same way. Okay. So you see, an inferiority complex is an overwhelming feeling of inadequacy or helplessness about a situation. Okay. That's what an inferiority complex is. It is when a situation happens, and you can see a cause here, that creates deep feelings of inferiority, e.g., my mum telling me I'm not good enough. The effect of that is that I'll avoid challenges. I'll not take action. I'll have deep self doubt. And the inner belief is I can't do it and I'm not good enough. And this is where people linger. This is what promotes self doubt later in life. This is what promotes lack of confidence in situations. Not because there's anything wrong, because they're stuck in the complex side of things. They're stuck in the model. And as I say, there's another part of this model where we're going to the superiority, but for ease, I'm going to focus on this. There's a part of this model where people get stuck here because they allow the meanings of the things that they've been through dictate where they are today. Yep. But you see, here's the thing. When it comes to this nature, there's another side of it. There's the other side of it, which is what we call normal inferiority, and which is like, you know, normal inferiority is we all feel like that. We all feel like, I need to strive to be better. I want to strive for a better relationship with my husband or wife. I want to strive to be fitter. I want to strive to make more money. I want to strive to feel better within myself. It's what gives us drive and motivation and determination. If you've ever been determined to achieve something, it's because there's a certain part that there's a feeling of inferiority that gives you that drive to do it. Some of you want to be the best parent you can be because you had a feeling of that inferiority and you don't want that for your child, as you just said. And that side of it, if I bring it up, is a completely normal, universal feeling that drives people to grow, learn, and strive for mastery. Again, the cause can be deep feelings of inferiority in childhood, but this person is going to prove that I can use it as a fuel to create a better life, create more motivation, more drive, more determination. And the belief is I don't know how yet, but I'll be damn sure that I will. Exact same circumstances, exact same happenings. The belief has been shifted based on whether they've been stuck in the complex of allowing it to define them, or they have just seen it as, you know what, I lacked in this area, but this is where I can use it as fuel. It is a complete radical difference in someone's life. This is how you see someone who's been born with everything, wound up depressed and a drug addict, and someone who's been built with nothing, quote unquote, become happy, fulfilled, vibrant, and have the most amazing relationships ever. Because circumstance does not define emotion. The meanings you give circumstance define emotion. The reason that I'm highlighting this is I want to bring it back straight to that question. And the exact question was, when I bring it back up here, the exact question was, how do I go about tackling the self-doubt that seems to appear even when I'm doing great? Now, if I was to do Harriet the disservice right now of saying, apply this coping mechanism, apply this technique, which can be beneficial, it would be, and any of you the disservice of this, it would be masking over the things that ultimately drive her underneath and drive you. I don't want to make this solely about Harriet. She was just very honest and forthcoming in putting this in the live call questions. So you see, whatever belief it is that you have, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. Um, I'm a lost cause. You know, whatever it may be. The reason that you're so adamant about keeping it is because it serves a purpose. it serves the purpose. Identify the belief of the purpose it creates, and then we can go about dealing with the core issue at hand. Because the final slide that I wanted to show you on here is this, and this is the key bit you want to be able to either note down, take with you, and understand for yourself, is this. And don't feel like you have to do this all at once. Listen to my words first and foremost. The inferiority complex is where I am. How can you, sitting there today, shift that? If your belief is, I'm this way because of my mum, my dad, my situation, my husband, my wife, they left me, I'm on my own, uh, you know, I had that situation that happened to me. Cool. I understand that. I would never invalidate, I would never neglect, I would never dismiss. Doesn't mean that's the reason you have to stay there. Three very, very simple steps that you can apply here actively. Number one, why I've just spent a bit of time here. Become aware of the belief you want to replace and why it no longer serves you. If I'm telling myself that my mum telling me I'm not good enough is my belief, as Alison pointed out to us, and that no longer serves me, I can become aware of that and I go, you know what? Whether that was right, whether it was wrong, whether I have evidence of it or not, as a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old woman or man, that doesn't serve me in my life right now. And I'm going to come back to this later on in another question. Two, surprise, surprise, create a state within you that will breed more vibrancy and breed more energy. Three, take action and build a network of social reinforcement to identify this. Some of you in the PPP, some of you have worked with me on the Life Empowerment Program. You created certain identities. I won't share the names, but when we've done certain practices, the reason that you was able to commit and follow through and keep that there, and some of you flying still, for absolutely flourishing in that area, is because of these steps of what we had done. I very much led step one. You took control of step two, and together we built step three, and you've continued that. That is what creates motivating growth, a motivating drive within you to keep going. I guarantee, without knowing the areas of your life right now, you are motivated in some areas. People, oh no, I have no motivation. No, you're just focusing on the areas you don't have motivation. Focus on the areas where you are motivated. It might be in your, let me bring this up. It might be in your health. Some of you might be very regimented with your diets. Some of you might be very regimented face. Some of you might be very regimented with your finances or with your relationship or the time that you spend with your kids or how good a parent you're going to be or how much effort you put in at work. You're very determined. You're very motivated. You're very driven. Why? Because there's a natural human, not saying you're inferior, but feeling of inferiority that I want to strive for better in this area. The area where you're stuck is because you're stuck in the complex because of the meaning that you are still holding. This is where we talk about the needs. You know, people say to me, and I'm spending a bit more time on this because I know it's going to be so evident for so many of you. People say to me, when they first come to see me, I want rid of the anxiety. I just need it to go. Okay, wonderful. Honestly, Matt, it doesn't help me whatsoever. Okay, great. I'll give you a prime example of someone I'm working with currently. It doesn't help me whatsoever. Okay, tell me your situation. I'm 35 years old. I'm still living at home. Um, my mum always gets just, pissed off with me, but she's also the one that's just there to help me all the time. My dad, he's just like he's at his wit's end with me. He doesn't really understand why I am the way that I am, and he's always like coming to check on me all the time. My sister gets annoyed with me, but no one really understands the way that I'm feeling, and I'm stuck this way, and it doesn't benefit me. Really, not at all. No, no, not at all. I'm 35 years old. I'm living at home. I'm not working currently. And this is current client. Not working currently. I haven't had a relationship in a while. Okay, cool. And so what happens when the anxiety is not there? Well, it doesn't go, okay, but in the odd moment it does. No one lives that way. In the odd moment it does. Well, nothing really. Everyone just cracks on with their life and everyone just carries on. Okay, cool. And what happens when it is there? Oh, my mum starts going into one and then she starts comforting me after and this and that. My dad doesn't know what to do and she told me the whole story again. I was like, oh, seems like an awful lot of emotional energy coming your way when you're anxious compared to when you're not. But it doesn't serve you, does it? What do you mean? Hmm. It doesn't serve you in the way that you want it to, but it does serve you on a deeper emotional level. When you understand the reasons of why, you can go to the pulse of it. When you, whatever belief in this case that is being shared, my mum, I'm this way because of my mum, I'm this way because of my dad. I'm nearly swore, but I'm going to try and keep it clean today. BS. BS. No, you've all worked with me personally. You've heard my situation as well. I know you've been through situations. That is not the reason. The reason is the meaning that you're still choosing to attach to it to stop you from maybe taking that risk, taking that step, having that courage to do that thing. Why do I focus so much on state? Because from this place of thinking about it, you're never going to break that barrier. So, very, very simply, when you're in this place, very, very simply, implement this modality. Understand that if I'm using this, I'm in the complex. What do I need to do to be able to apply those 3 steps to create a place of, saying this isn't where I want it to be yet, but I'm going to make it how I want it to be. Create an identity for yourself that allows you to own that part. And I've done this practice with all of you. Because if you want to really self reflect after this session, whatever belief it is that you may be carrying currently that isn't helping you, when you apply Adler's model here, what are you actually doing to develop that part? Really doing to develop that part. So when you understand that, it will change the game. You can see why I've had to condense these questions. I'm only on question 1. you know, I tried to condense these questions and put them and merge a couple into like 4 main questions here. So because people ask different ways, but in the roundabout same region. So I'm going to look to get through these. Make sense? Cool. Second question that come in from the members of the PPP. The rest of these are private, so I won't be naming any personal names. Not that anyone would know these people anyway, but I will not be naming any personal names. Next question. How can I stop that nagging inner voice? Anyone find themselves here? Cool. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. This one is going to take 5 minutes, if that. So here's how. Here's how. This is you. You must have been down the gym recently. Good on you. This is you. This is your partner or child or mum or dad. I just use that as a general way. Notice they're a bit greater than you. You're vibrant and healthy and buzzing. They're a bit greater. But anyway, I don't know them, so I'm not going to judge. So here's the thing, right? I need, please, a member of the PPP who would be willing to do this example with me, please. Otherwise, I will come hunting. Sue, thank you. Good evening, Sue.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'd love for you to help me answer this question. Okay?
Fine.
But to help me answer this question, you and I are going to play a little bit of a role play game, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Is that all right with you?
Mhm.
Cool. So here's the thing. You don't have to tell me who they are, but do you ever have Or has there ever been someone in your life at various stages or ages where they've been a little bit naggy? They nag at you, or
Mhm.
oh, yeah, she's got one there quite quickly. Okay. So, okay, mind went to that one. Lovely stuff. And for the rest of you, you can do this as well. You've got someone, and I don't want to know who they are. That can be personal to you. But could you give me a roundabout area that they would nag about or moan about? Let's
Yeah.
say what they would moan about in their situation. Don't have to be too personal with this, but something that
Mm.
they may moan about.
I say time of day. I start is what from my childhood. So starting by not getting out of bed, things like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, so
Yeah.
you not getting out of bed or
Me.
okay,
Mm.
cool. Let me move this conversation on. I want you to be an adult. I don't want you to be a child.
Okay.
Have you got anything else? Anyone else who would nag later in life? That's why I said, for example, a partner or a child is the other person.
Yeah.
If you haven't, cool, happy days. I
I
mean,
haven't
you're the
really. No.
beautiful. No worries. Let me ask someone else. Um,
Sorry.
that's right. No worries at all. Do I have any other naggers? Anyone else? PPPers? I don't give. It's funny now, isn't it? Because when I'm working with you, you're like, oh, I got this guy. If I speak to you one to one, you're like, "Oh, this going on, this person's saying this person's saying that. We're on the group call. Anyone got anything? No, I've got a perfect life. My child are wonderful. My children are wonderful. They go to bed on time. My husband and wife, they do exact not and wife, husband or wife. They do exactly what I need. Cool. You know what? I'll be the person then. I'll be the person. Um, who can I ask as a volunteer? Rox, you're my friend. I'll work with yourself.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hypothetically speaking here, if I may, I am a child. Depending on who you speak to, they may agree with you. But I am a child. And in this, I am moaning, and you can see how this circles back to the question in hand. I am moaning about the fact that I want an ice cream. You, this is a bit different, are my parent. Hypothetically speaking, I told you, this is hypothetical. Roll with me here. So you are my parent, okay? Now, deal with me as you may.
You can't have an ice cream because you haven't.
I haven't even asked for one yet. Don't put me in my place just yet. Jeez Louise. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even ask for one. But put me in my place if you may. Okay?
Okay,
Permission to act like a child, please.
granted.
A pretty immature, petulant child, if I'm honest. I want an ice cream. Ice cream. Can you go and get my ice cream? I want an ice cream. I want an ice cream. I want an ice cream.
You can't have an ice cream until you've had your dinner.
Go and get an ice cream. Go and get an ice cream.
No,
Go and get an ice cream.
no.
You go and get me an ice cream now. Go and get me an ice cream
Go
now.
to your room.
No, I'm not going. Go and get me an ice cream now.
Go
Go,
to your room.
go and get me an ice cream now. I want ice cream. I want ice cream. Ice cream.
I'm just going to ignore you
Ice
now.
cream. Now, so stop. Just so we're clear. Thank you very much, Roxy. Just so we're clear, this is the reason why so many of you put your hand up when I said that nagging in a voice. Just so you're aware. It works in the exact same way. That inner voice is a child. It's a petulant child. It's a spoilt child. It's an immature child. It is a child that is entitled. And it is a child that ultimately, if they can see a chink in you, they will get their own way. Some of you, as real life parents, will know exactly what I'm talking about here. When you're so tired, so drained emotionally, that's when they pounce, don't they? That's when they see the chink and they come full force. You see, The inner voice is a conversation. You are never going to stay with me. Someone, I can see a comment that's come in here. There is never a moment, and you're going to hear me say this, where you're going to stop that inner voice. The wanting of stopping it is going to be a belief in itself that isn't going to serve you, because you, me, every single person on this planet is born with that inner voice. It's universal. I've worked with most of you on this when we've talked about dismiss, question, and ridicule. You see, it is born, it is inherent within every single one of us. The difference between me, you, the person who asked the question, whoever it may be who finds themselves with a nagging inner voice, is like I demonstrated with Rox there. Who was in control of that conversation? Me. Me. I know for a fact that many of you with children, many of you with husbands, many of you with wives, you're lovely people. I know you're lovely people because I've worked with you. But sometimes you get to that point when you're just like, shut up! Shut up! Leave me alone. And you're at that place, you're at that precipice. You snap, you affirm, you're authoritative, you're certain, you're directive, you're boom, you're with it. And guess what? Your husband, especially, we do need training, but your husband, the guys here are just like, yeah, we do need training. Yeah. So the husband or your children or whatever it may be, what happens is they learn very quickly, and they learn in different ways to understand that that nagging isn't going to get what they want. Most of you are not in control of the conversation that goes on with the emotional part of your mind. You know, when I spoke to you all sometimes about where I stand by the door and I go for the ice bath outside, you know, I spoke to some of you about that. Do you think the inner voice is nagging at me then? Every single time. Has done for 15 years. Will do for another 15 years. The nagging voice is not the issue. You wanting the nagging voice to stop is like you being a parent and just going, "Oh God, no! Someone just deal with a baby." You don't learn that way. You don't learn. The baby don't learn. There's no progress that way. What happens is when in those situations, you learn how to take control of that conversation, and you direct it in a way that you want. If I come back to, and thank you very much, by the way, Rox, because if I come back to that conversation there with Rox, if on a different way, Rox had taken control of that conversation, this is what we're doing, very certain with me, very directive, very authoritative, gave me no room to continue that momentum, that speed with that. The game changes. The situation changes with the inner nagging voice. I told you, I'm not here to sugarcoat. The inner voice isn't going anywhere. What is going somewhere is your ability to take control of that inner voice and direct the conversation in a way that you want. How you do that, of course, because I told you today's going to be about steps that you can take with you, is very, very simple. Take control of that conversation. The way you take control of any conversation is you are certain, you are directive, you are authoritative. I think I spelled that wrong, authoritative. And you will never stop that voice, but you will quieten and dictate the conversation, which is ultimately what we want. And by the way, I say these things are universal truths. Many of you do this already. You do this with your wives, you do this with your husbands, you do this with your kids. If they are nagging or doing this, you are very certain with them, sometimes in language that won't be repeated. You are very direct with them, sometimes in ways that, don't want to get on the wrong side of him or her. And you are very authoritative in the way that sometimes you're like, you know what, you ain't running the show with that type of behavior. You get to those places, and when you do, you're like, cool. And you take more control of your life. The same with your nagging voice. It's not going anywhere. You need to learn how to train it. Same with a pet. If you've got a puppy that squeals and this and that, or you've got something in that area, unless you train them, They'll keep on squealing, they'll keep on doing these things. The problem, and the true problem of this, honestly, is that most people just, oh, someone else deal with it. Just you deal with it. Mum, can you come and deal with the kids? Dad, can you tell him to go away? And we get other people to, why? Because the brain takes the path of least resistance and we don't learn and we are LTs, LBs. We know what LBs stand for, don't we? Say it, Sue. Lazy what? What's the second word? Some of you are smiling. It's not the crude word that you're thinking of. It's lazy bones. Lazy bones. Alison's going, lazy bastards. No, no. I told you I wasn't swearing. No, lazy bones. Some of us are lazy bones, me included, when it comes to the voice. Sometimes we're just like, someone else do it. I'm already tired. I'm already... I get that. I understand that. The tide will only shift when we take control of it in this way. Okay? So the first part with a belief is the 3 steps. The second one is very, very simple. Take control of the conversation. As I keep this moving now with this one, next question that I had, that I sort of brought into a realm that allows you to be very, very easy with how you're going to move forward with it. Is there any way to combat the apprehension I get on some days the second I wake up? The second I wake up. The moment my eyes open, I'm filled with apprehension. Anyone else? Cool. And by the way, for the recording purposes of this and everything else, for the recording purposes of this and moving forward, this is only you and I. So no one else can see you. No one else can see me. Oh, only people can see me on the recording, so no one can see you raise your hand. Please put your hand up if you just... No, sorry. Please raise your hand again if that was you. Okay, cool. Because regardless of if that is or isn't you, this is very important. Very important. Because here's the thing. Let this be clear first of all. Because again, there's a belief that gets presented here. The belief's very clear. The second I wake up, this happens. Let's be very clear. No one ever wakes up with apprehension. Never. You don't wake up with it. It's not, your husband or wife. You don't wake up with them. Like, you produce it almost instantaneously. You produce it first thing, probably, because of some subconscious patterns you are dealing with. And what I mean by this is, before some of you go reading on there, before I get to that moment, you, and you're going to hear me say this before, as well as I, will mask deeper emotional pains and instead deal with surface level issues. You will mask deeper emotional pains and deal with surface level issues. As an example, my relationship isn't in a good place and I don't know how to deal with it. Or my work is overwhelming and I feel burdened with how much I need to do. This is an example. Some people, it can be as quote unquote simple as, I'm emotionally not sure if I can get through today without feeling panicky. That's a deeper emotional pain. And in both cases here, you look to deal with a surface level issue instead of dealing with something here that feels quite heavy and full on to deal with. This is where you would have heard me talk about previously dealing with the main protagonist. And so I've created this in a different way for you here that's going to be quite important. And the way I'm going to share this with you here is this. If I bring this up here. So the way that this works is like so. You are in a place, in a situation where you wake up and the first thing that is subconsciously been going on in your mind for the last 7-8 hours, ruminating around, is this unsolved problem, this unsolved issue of the job worry, the burden of the job, or the relationship that I'm currently in that I need to end, or they're going to end it with me, or whatever it is that's going on, the deeper emotional pain, or the panic that could or could not happen at some point, and I'm not sure if I can deal with that. That's the core issue, right? And so what you do and what we do as human beings is this. Your mind and brain will always take the path of least resistance or the path well trodden, meaning the easy route. The easy route. You know, we're LBs naturally as human beings. The brain will take the path of least resistance or the path well trodden. How many times do you sometimes get to a place where you're like in the evening, oh God, I really can't be asked to make dinner. So you just throw something easy in the oven and just go and watch TV. When you have emotional energy, you go and create a dinner and you create it from scratch with all your ingredients. When you don't, and you're emotionally tired, emotionally drained, emotionally exhausted, you throw something in the oven. Because it's or microwave meal or whatever it may be. Why? It's the path of least resistance or the path well trodden. Come back to the nagging thought, by the way. How many of us often find ourselves in a situation where that nagging voice is going, I'm not sure you can do it, 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 or are you really sure about that? Are you really sure about that? I'm not sure you can do it, I'm not sure you can do it. And eventually you go, oh, forget it, I don't think I can do it. The same way that happens. Your brain ends up going, oh, I'll take the path of least resistance. Let me just not do it. Let me just not get in the car. Let me just not make that phone call. Let me just not take control. Let me just not make that action. You know, um, I won't name her publicly, but someone who I've worked with recently posted in the Wins channel recently that she took a huge step for herself in applying for a university, that from my conversations with her previously and that she had on a certain program I worked with, it was a not the path well trodden. It was not the path of least resistance. I imagine it took some conscious effort, some courage, some drive within her, but she went and done it. Boom. Creates a new opportunity for herself, a new life, a new lifestyle potentially. Why? Consciously applying this. Because otherwise, this is what will happen. This is what will go on. You wake up like this, and subconsciously, these patterns have been lingering. And so, what happens is the moment you wake and kick into conscious existence, your brain knows you need to deal with these deeper emotional pains. These. It's the same time that some of you find it hard to slow down. Why? Because when you slow down, you're left with the underlying traits of your thoughts of that what needs to really be dealt with, the relationship issue, the job issue, the uh, the way that I'm feeling. So what you do, you keep yourself busy all the time instead. Because if I can keep myself busy, I keep my mind busy. My thoughts are still racing, and I ain't got time to deal with that. Why? I'm dealing with this now. Oh, now all of a sudden, I've become a mechanic overnight, and the car needs changing, and I'm going to do that myself. Why? Because it keeps you busy enough to stop dealing with the core issue at hand. Can we all see that, by the way? Good. So what happens is you wake, you kick into conscious existence. Your brain knows you need to deal with this. If you can see my cursor here. And so your option is to deal with this or create something to distract you. Now, naturally, I've just put anxiety because this is naturally where I work, but it could be apprehension, it could be worry, it could be fear, it could be panic, it could be whatever it may be. And so you create this as a surprise, surprise, comes back to the first one, as a purpose. And so what happens is your attention then shifts the moment I wake up. Now I'm not dealing with this. I'm now dealing with this that's right in front of my face. And the moment you consciously wake, this is where I then go. But you see, the issue is, look at the size of these clouds. This is a big thing I need to deal with in my job, in my relationship, in the true emotional part of me. Being able to take control of how I feel, stand on my own 2 feet. I've ended this relationship. I need to, whatever it may be that emotionally really needs dealing with. And this little distraction, it's not quite going to cut it. So what do? You blow it up. You blow it up and then you make that thing that hits you first in the apprehension. Oh God, if I really focus on this, it's stopping me from this, it's stopping me from that. And the bigger this is now, this is all I can think about. So now I'm really not dealing with any of this because now this is pressing though, Matt, and you don't understand the anxiety, the apprehension, the fear, the panic. It is huge. And I'm not doubting that it's not. I'm just showing you the way that you've created it though. Because I promise you, myself included, these traits, whatever trait it may be, anxiety, fear, worry, even the good traits, they don't happen by chance. They always happen by purpose. And so you blow it up to this size. So now that's all I can focus on. It's all I can deal with. You know what? The job issues, I'll have to focus on that another time. The fact my relationship's a mess, I'll have to deal with that another time. The fact I don't speak to my parents, or the fact that that issue that happened 10 years ago that I've tried to push down. And so what we do is we make this the core thing. And don't get me wrong, there's ways that we can remove that. But guess what? You don't, it's going to sound mad, you don't want to get rid of it. Why? Because if you truly get rid of it, which don't get me wrong, some of you have also done with working with me, but you will also know, and I'm not going to name your name here, but you know that when I did a practice with you about something related to a parent within you, from that moment, from when we worked together one-to-one, you flourished from that point. The reason is because we dealt with that. For all the time before that, we was dealing with that. And so when we can do that, you can take off the mask of dealing with this. That's why those of you on the Life Empowerment Program, it's not an anxiety program. No, it's about that. Because when you deal with that, you realize this is just a byproduct that serves the purpose. And they'll come back to the reason most of us, no, that's a lie. People in society want to get rid of it consciously, but they don't emotionally. Why? Because if I do, that's what sits in front of me. So instead, the fear, the worry, the dread, the overwhelm, the anxiety, the whatever it may be, I focus on that instead and I create that to be my focus. So here's the thing. You're actually using that. And you're using it, as I said, to serve the purpose because it stops you dealing with that deeper part. Why this is important is because if we go back, oh, excuse me, if we go back to this, and I bring this back up for you, you will learn tech at some stage, at some point. Maybe not in the near future, but some point. What happens is we deal. Is there any way to combat the apprehension that I get when some days the second I wake up? Do you know what? There is. Put yourself in a great state, give yourself a focus, give yourself a purposeful thing that you really want to action to really create some shifts in your life and really say, yeah, that is going to work for you. And you know what? If you haven't got a deeper main protagonist to deal with, that will be wonderful for you. And for many people, it is. For many people, they are happy living a life and with the ways that I show you. But if you really want to experience deeper freedom, identify what that main protagonist is. And this is where we use our state, we use our courage, we use our depth of understanding to say, you know what, and all the things that I show you to go, right, this is how we're going to take control here. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to not be stuck. I'm not going to stay here. I'm not going to keep masking over it when I know there's that part of me that needs to sort it. That's what I'm going to deal with. Okay? If that answers the question for you. Because there was one final question, and this is a lovely question that I try. And with these questions, had many more, but I tried to blend them into the same one just so I can answer it. I find myself looking over and I've sort of paraphrased this because it was a longer question. I find myself looking over my past and feeling like I've wasted so many years because of anxiety and not being able to overcome it. With how much I love how I feel now, I find myself realizing how life could have been. I'll be honest with you, this is a beautiful place to be. This is a beautiful place to be. It means you're in a beautiful place now. So there's two sides to this. There's two sides. I could give you the deeper science, or I can just hit you with the truth. The only thing you and me, the only thing you have complete control over is right now. It's the only thing you have complete control over. If you like to spend your time right now dwelling on the past, more power to you. More power to you. If you like, and you, I know that you're here, and I know how amazing you are, and you know how amazing you are. You would like to recognize all the wonderful things that you've done, heart-led power as an example, ways of self-connection. Recognize the wonderful things that you've done, recognize the wonderful steps that you've taken, and say, you know what? I'm going to use this to create even more magical moments. And like I've done in my life, because I also was in this place before, as by the way, do you know what? I'm going to use this, hear me on this, feeling of inferiority, normal feeling, to double my experience now to make up for that time lost back then. You know what? I'm going to maximize the even more now. I'm going to do even more now because I'm behind the curve, baby. I'm behind the curve. I've got years to catch up on. It's what gives you a drive. It's what gives you a motivation. It's what gives you that feeling of inferiority, the normal inferiority, gives you that purpose to want to go and create even more. Because very simply, maximize the day even more. I can give you some big, deep, in-depth, psychological answer, or I can just be the truth and say, you know what? You, the only thing that you have complete focus on is right now. I don't care what's happened. I do care, but I don't care what's happened in the last 10 minutes, in the last 10 hours, in the last 10 days, in the last 10 years of your life. If you sat here right now and went, sod it, do you know what? All that did happen. But and what? I know it sounds very simple, but you could make that decision now and go, well, I'll just make a fresh now and start a line now. You could do that and maximize that today. The reason we get in conflict with ourselves is because then we, believe this or believe that, or what about this, what about that? But it can be that simple. Because the way that, and I'll leave you with this, the way that I honestly see every single day of my life is a tool that I think you can take that is a very simple tool, the same way I've given you the other tools here. I see every single day of my life as an empty pint glass. That is what I see my day as. An empty pint glass. Now, I've used the pint glass in different analogies with you, talking about in different ways, but I see my day as an empty pint glass. And for me, I can fill that day with whatever I bloody well choose. I can feel it with dread, I can feel it with stress, I can feel it with arguments, I can feel it with fear. I could. I do sometimes. Or I could fill it with what I want to fill it with. Squash, lemonade. I don't drink, so that works for me. And all of the other lovely emotions that work for me. Why? Because when I see this in this analogy, very simply, without this being too cliche and corny, I'm like, you know what? This is my day. Why would I allow him or her or that situation take up rent, take up time of my pint, take up space in my pint glass for longer than I need it to? Because if it's my pint glass, I'm going to be like, you know what? That can happen. And sometimes I do get a bit annoyed, but I've spent 10 minutes dwelling on that, and that's already taken up a bit of my pint glass. Why would I want it anymore? Get going. Let me fill it with something else. And every single day, that is the way I see it. Every single time I open my eyes, do my state, do my incantations on the dog walk with Albie, and I'm like, right, let's go and fill that pint glass. Because if you do that, to answer this question directly, you won't be looking back and going, you know what, I wish I would have known what I know now 10 years ago. I wish I would have known what I know now 20 years ago, or whatever it may be. You'll be like, you know what, the only time I have is right now. So let me just crack on. So otherwise I'm going to spend another 2 years, 2 minutes, 2 months, whatever it may be, dwelling on that. And I go, oh, I wish I'd done that 2 years ago. And there's going to be another 2 years. That's what you have for complete control over. And so within these 4 questions, like I say, on the peak performance program, this here we do go a little bit deeper because you all, if you're all here with me now, you understand me. You understand what we do here. You understand state, you understand um, heart-led power, you understand ways of giving to yourself, you understand that all these things serve a purpose. But if you can understand it from this now, you actually hold the manual. You hold the manuscript for why you're doing what you're doing. And when you can apply this in different areas of your life, when you can apply this to go, you know what? Why am I getting angry at that situation? Well, I'm getting angry because I want them to hear me. And when I get angry, everyone in this house listens to me. Problem is, it makes me feel like doo-doo. So you know what? What would be a better way to get people to listen to me in this household? That's the only reason people use anger, because they think it gives them a dominance. Otherwise, it serves no purpose. The only reason people use anxiety is because it keeps them away from something, or people get connected through it, or whatever it may be. The only reason people use worry, similar, stops them from taking action. The only reason people choose to carry around a belief of I'm not good enough is because it stops them from taking action and potentially ridicule, potentially judgment. And so it serves the purpose. We just need to add some roots to it so it's finite. So when Matt goes, yeah, but this is why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah, but Matt, you don't understand. Not only did my mum say it, but my auntie reinforced it. And like, I'm not dismissing or invalidating anything that anyone's gone through. Like I say, you know my situation as well. But the simple truth with each of those questions is if it doesn't serve you, it has no place. That's not because I'm judge and jury, it's just because it's your life. If it doesn't serve you, it has no place. But sometimes we have to understand why we're doing what we're doing. I know your stories because I've at some stage worked with each of you one to one, whether it'll be on programs, whether it'll be on sheets, whether it'll be on extra calls, things like that. And I've spoke to each of you about certain things that are really prominent for yourself, specifically to you. And if you can apply those areas with the understandings of what you've learned here as well, you're going to find yourself being even more freer, even more vibrant, and even more energized. But the game of life and the beauty of life is, just so you're aware, in 6 months or a year's time, you'll come back and you'll go, yeah, Matt, I've dealt with that, but now there's this thing. Yeah, that is life. That is the game of life. I used to worry about how I was going to pay for my school dinners. Now I worry about how I'm going to pay rent. In a couple of years' time, I'll worry about how I'm going to pay for my kids. Like, life evolves. Just make sure you're evolving with it. We got it? Any questions? It's lovely to see some of your faces again, I must say. Very, very, very nice. Some of you have got the exact same mannerisms, even though it was a year ago. Some of you there, and you drift in, drift out, answer a few messages, come back. I love it. Brilliant. Guys, if there's any questions or anything like that, let me know. Obviously, guys, in the PPP, I'll be following up with this. For the rest of you guys, obviously, if there's any questions, feel free to let me know. If you want to obviously understand a little bit more about what we do here, feel free to let me know as well. No worries at all. Absolute pleasure. I'll be following up in the group with more information and the slideshows and things like that for you guys. So by all means, for those of you watching this on replay as well, please make sure you apply it. And guys, I look forward to seeing you very, very soon in some capacity. No worries at all. Absolute pleasure seeing so many of you. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Isn't it nice that I'm roughly on time? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye bye for now.